Preface. This book is about design imaging with the public, the ultimate users of an environment. Our focus on visualization distinguishes the co-design process from other forms of design participation, and development of sketching skills forms a major part of the contents. This book is based on our experience of 190 design workshops describing the guidelines that have evolved and demonstrating the skills we have developed. Those who have asked for our help have represented large cities, regional recreation areas, small towns, inner cities, suburbs, university and college departments, schools, churches, professional offices, and commercial centers. They shared a need for assistance in the design of their environments to pull all their ideas together into a unified concept. We describe in this book how to provide a focus for their discussion of ideas, how to guide them through the design process, how to reinforce the ideas with design awareness, and how to ease their communication through visualization. In short, we describe a process of architectural facilitation. In addition, we show how to produce user-friendly drawings that provide the participant with an entry into the design process. We focus on the use of on-the-spot drawing of scenes as an architectural technique that both helps the dialogue and provides the accurate design data afterward. We have included those sketching skills we are most frequently asked to demonstrate in our artist training classes and items that the current and copious literature on sketching covers insufficiently. We assume that the reader has a basic proficiency in perspective and figure drawing. This book is not the primer, as many books are available for the novice designer. The term co-design, which is used throughout this book, is a combination of community, cooperative, and collaborative design. When we speak of a co-design artist, we mean a person with advanced skills in drawing people and scenes at the direction of others. Co-design artists need a background in the design of a built environment, such as the professions of architecture, planning, architectural technology, landscape architecture, interior design, urban design, and the facility of three-dimensional representation. The term architecture is used in a broad sense in the book to include all of these professions. The term is selected in preference to such terms as environmental designer because the authors of this book are from architectural disciplines, and work of similar nature in other countries has been developed by architects. Volunteer writers are not professional writers in the usual sense, but volunteers from the community trained in information sessions in note-taking skills and perceptual awareness. Community plus cooperative plus collaborative equal co-design. Source of the name co-design. The audience and the potential value of this book. This book addresses 5 types of audience. 1. Practicing professionals in the fields of programming and design architecture, planning, urban design, interior design, and landscape architecture. We provide a useful guide for involving clients and users in design work and a way to communicate productively with a large community. 2. students of these disciplines to give them direction for the development of their design method, procedure for conducting design dialogue, and development of skills in design sketching. This book will equip students to work creatively with clients and the community in their professions. 3. Policy makers at community, corporate, and government levels, and citizen planning committees that seek a well-tried method with examples showing a good track record for involving people in decision making. 4. The middle management of corporate organizations, and people who assist them in conducting the participation program. We detail the steps of organization and provide guidance for the assistants who carry out the work. 5. Educators at various levels from elementary and high school to technical college and university. This book describes examples and processes that were used to involve students in the design of their works, neighborhoods, and city districts. This book will equip the reader to lead in the creative design of environments in a society that increasingly recognizes the importance of involving users in decisions that affect them. Acknowledgement. Co-design began with children. They grouped around me, their faces ablaze with anger. My son among them shouted, "A bulldozer is bulldozing a play area. Are they allowed? What are the rules?" Their play area to the adult, a vacant lot, was to them their private territory that they had carved from wilderness and claimed with a tree house as their own. Their concern and anger over development that destroyed their environment and then excluded them gave co-design its impetus. Their legacy is in co-design's simplicity of process, its directness of language, its imagery, and its perception of design as a sensory rather than an intellectual experience. At this time, in the mid-1960s, many of Montreal's older neighborhoods were being transformed by the building boom. In visiting these vital communities to sketch this picturesque architecture, I began to feel like the harbinger of doom. Soon after my visits, the architecture would be replaced by large developments of bland international style. The residents, particularly the children, felt powerless to halt the destruction. I tried to answer the concern, and since that time I have been working on the answer with the help of my family and friends, and eventually with dedicated professional colleagues who together are the co-authors of this book. At first, the answer was attempted in education. With the help of my wife Margaret, an art teacher, and my 3 children, and after numerous visits to schools, educational material was prepared and distributed to explain the process of urban development. Many educators aided me at this stage, notably Professor Emeritus Frank Hardwick of the University of British Columbia, Gary Onstad of the Vancouver School Board, Professor Milt McLaren of Simon Fraser University, and Professor Mark Bell of the University of Victoria. Ars Erickson of the National Endowments of the Arts encouraged me with her work in education about the built environment and arranged for me to present at conferences of architects and educators. Colin Ward education officer of the Town and Country Planning Association in England, gave me encouragement by writing on my work and that of others in this field. The work with children was associated with real design issues, and parents and other adults joined in. The Government of Canada assisted me with study grants in the 1970s to develop the process further. Notable encouragement was given by Ron Basford as Minister of State for Urban Affairs, Peter Oberlander as Deputy Minister of State for Urban Affairs, Courtney Towers of the Prime Minister's Office, and Barry Howells, Director of the National Film Board's Film of My Workshop Process, Chairs for Lovers. At this time, I also received active support from members of the architectural and planning professions, in particular William Graham and Ray Spaxman, successively directors of planning for the city of Vancouver, Hilda Simons, John Death, and Guy Spencer of the Community Planning Association of Canada, Henry Elder, Director of the School of Architecture, University of British Columbia, and Mary Becker and Catherine Urbanek, who were then students at the school. The scale of work grew larger in 1979 during the building boom in Calgary, Alberta. It was at this time that a non-profit organization called the Co-Design Society was formed, with a core group of artists, architects, and architectural technologists. Merinda Mindy Conley has volunteered her service continuously and effectively as secretary-treasurer of this core group. Once we recognized that the response of the participants in workshops grew richer in the drawing skills, if the drawing skills of the architect were fine-tuned, we began to offer sketching classes in Calgary, Victoria, and on Pender Island, British Columbia. The most gifted and persistent students, Merinda Conley, Bill Latimer, and Drew Ferrari, became my teaching colleagues and the core group of artist architects at the workshops, able at workshop facilitation and central in the organization of the society. Now they are co-authors of this book, and without them it would not have been possible. Great support over many years has been given by Fred Klingbeil, supervisor of the Architectural Technology Program, and by many other colleagues and students of the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology in Calgary. Professors Tang Li and Robert Kirby of the Faculty of Environmental Design at the University of Calgary gave support and encouragement and assisted with temporary accommodations and computer access, and by accepting Merinda and Drew's work on the book as part of their directed studies toward master's degrees in architecture. Also at the university, Mike Bridges assisted with library computer searches, and Randy Hadley assisted with photographic reproductions of drawings. The Alberta Association of the Canadian Institute of Planners assisted us with both encouragement and a generous grant towards expenses. Members of the Co-Design Society have all facilitated many workshops as artists and organizers. Outstanding among them are my wife Margaret, Audrey Christie, Jeannie Kalin, Elizabeth Allen, Peter Walsh, Warren Gould, Robert Agnew, and Chuck Smith. Celia, my daughter, assisted with research and site photography. Freelance writer Lynn McDowell, Professor Tan Lee, and Andre Ifrig assisted us with their insightful editing of the manuscript. Philip Duck, planner with the City of Calgary, gave us encouragement and guidance in forming a bridge between the community and the professional planner. During the course of this work, the participants, both young people and adults, have numbered an estimated 10,000 in different parts of Canada and the United States. They have all contributed to this work in their responses, enthusiasm, and encouragement. They have been very effective in stating their preferences, from which hundreds of public spaces have been made more humane. Perhaps this is the answer my young son and his friends sought 25 years ago. Their angry complaint was, I now see, a reminder that the people who use of space, particularly the young people, are eager to contribute to discussions on the design of its future. Their point has been proven.